10 years, I believed my life was perfect. My husband, Adil, was loving, responsible, and hard-working. We had a beautiful home, a routine, and what seemed like a strong bond, but perfection is an illusion. It all started on a cold December night when Adil left his phone on the kitchen counter unlocked. A small mistake, but one that changed my life forever. A message popped up. "We need to be careful. She can't find out." I felt my heart stop. Who was she? And what couldn't I find out? My hands shook as I scrolled through his phone. There were messages from an unknown number. "I miss you. When will I see you again?" She's starting to notice. "Be smart." My throat tightened. Was my husband having an affair? I put the phone back and forced myself to act normal. But inside, a storm was raging. I had to know the truth. So I began watching his schedule, his calls, his excuses, and one evening I did something I had never done before. I followed him. Adil drove across the city, stopping outside an abandoned warehouse. My stomach churned as I watched from a distance. A woman stepped out of the shadows. She was young, confident, and when she hugged Adil, it wasn't just a friendly embrace. I clenched the steering wheel, my heart hammering. Was this the woman he was hiding? Was this the betrayal? But then, something strange happened. Adil handed her a thick envelope. She nodded and disappeared into the warehouse. This wasn't just an affair. This was something far bigger and far more dangerous. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was drowning in questions. I needed more proof. While Adil was in the shower, I grabbed his laptop and searched through his files. And that's when I found it. A second passport, a different name. Bank statements linked to an account I never knew existed. Who was my husband? At dinner, I couldn't hold back anymore. "Adil," I said, forcing a smile. "Who were you with last night?" His fork stopped mid-air. "What are you talking about?" "I saw you," I whispered. "I saw you with her. I know about the money. I know about the second passport." His face turned pale. For the first time in 10 years, I saw fear in his eyes. "You followed me?" he asked, his voice tight. "Tell me the truth, or I swear I'll find out myself," I said. He exhaled slowly. Then, finally, he spoke. "It's not what you think." Adil leaned back, running a hand through his hair. "Before I met you, I wasn't the man you know. What does that mean?" I asked, my voice shaking. He hesitated. Then he said the words that turned my blood to ice. "I used to work for dangerous people. I felt the air leave my lungs. The woman you saw, she's not my lover. She's my contact. She's helping me disappear." Disappear? From whom? From what? And more importantly, was I in danger too? For days, I tried to process the truth. Adil was hiding from someone, from a past he never told me about. But then, something happened that left no doubt. A black car started following me. At first, I thought I was imagining it. But then, it happened again. At the grocery store, on my way home, even when I picked up our son from school, I confronted Adil. "I think someone is watching me." His face darkened. He grabbed his car keys. "Get inside the house. Lock the doors. I'll handle it. For the first time, I realized this wasn't just his past, it was our future too. That night, I made a decision I had to protect myself. I couldn't just trust his words, so I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed him, again, but this time, what I saw shattered everything. Adil wasn't meeting a contact. He was meeting the man in the black car. And they weren't arguing. They were shaking hands. My heart nearly stopped. Was my husband lying to me even now? When Adil came home that night, I was waiting for him. "Who is he?" I demanded. Adil looked at me, his face unreadable. "I told you I'm trying to fix things." I held up my phone, showing him the photo I took. "Fix things? You're working with them, aren't you?" Silence. Then he sighed. "I don't have a choice." Tears burned my eyes. "So everything was a lie?" He stepped closer. "No, Farah, I swear, I did this to keep you safe." "Then why didn't you tell me?" I whispered. "Because I knew you'd leave," he admitted. I stared at him, my heart breaking. The man I loved had been lying to me for 10 years, but had he ever really been mine? Adil's past had finally caught up with us, and now I had to make a choice. Stay with a man I could no longer trust? Or leave before his darkness swallowed me whole? That night, I packed a bag. For the first time in 10 years, I chose myself. As I walked out, Adil didn't stop me. He just stood there, his eyes filled with something I couldn't read. Maybe regret, maybe relief, or maybe he knew that this story wasn't over yet. Because secrets always have a way of coming back.